Since most of you guys said your trade deadline is after Thanksgiving, we figured we would do one more buys video for you this year. Wrap it up. One of our favorite videos of the year. So we appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed. But these are guys that if you can add them to your fantasy team right now, we're doing it. And the first one here, maybe you can't add him. I'm personally not selling him. As you know, I stole this player from Nathan in the Flock League. That's Justin Jefferson. And that Justin Jefferson...
He's averaging the same amount of points per game as Kyron.
Yeah, but what's your record and what's mine? Yep, that's right. All right, so Justin Jefferson, right?
Sorry, couldn't help it.
That was an outburst. Are you okay?
Yep.
Jefferson, obviously... I didn't sound like that. Jefferson, obviously, the last couple games, he hasn't been great, right? So the difference between like weeks 10 and 11 versus Jacksonville and Tennessee, he had 9 targets in week 10. He only caught 5 of them. He didn't have a touchdown. He hasn't had a touchdown since week 7 against Detroit. And then against Tennessee, he had 8 targets. He had 14 points, but again, only caught 6 of those. The difference really in the Chicago game was he actually saw a decrease in targets, right? You go down to 5 targets. He caught 2 of them. 1 of them was in overtime. He only had 4 points. And if it hadn't been for overtime, he would have had 1 point or 2 points. So with JJF, you might be asking yourself, okay, why is this happening? Okay, let's cover 2 things here. You can have lower upside, lower scoring games against bad teams like Jacksonville, and that's, sometimes just the way it goes. In the case of Tennessee and Chicago, you have Tennessee. Tennessee's very good against wide receivers this year in fantasy football, and Chicago honestly is too, especially against wide receiver ones. You've got Jalen Johnson, right? Is there the cornerback that was guarding Justin Jefferson almost all day this week, and I think it really did have an impact on him. I think this is the case of where you have a really good shutdown cornerback. Now you might be using that to say, okay, they play Chicago in week 15. Justin Jefferson was pretty vocal that he was frustrated about what happened yesterday, and the thing about Justin Jefferson is even when he gets shut down by a corner like this, he still can come back and beat the corner's butt later in the season. He's Justin Jefferson.
Right.
And this is why I don't know if he's a realistic trade target for you. Really, what this is going to be...
I actually think he is. I think there's a lot of people that are downers on what JJ has been doing the last 3 weeks.
Really what this is... I think a lot of casual people will be down on JJ.
This is a price check on JJ.
So, if you got home leagues, if you've got work leagues, if you've got leagues where you don't know, where you don't watch Domain Fantasy Football, where they tell you, hey, Justin Jefferson's really good, don't sell him in any case because he's still the wide receiver for the season and you're dumb if you sell Justin Jefferson, you might be able to get him. So, I think you are going to see Justin Jefferson fall down ranks a little bit because of 3 straight really underperforming weeks by his own standard. And for us, I think, when you're looking at week 15 against Chicago, obviously that's tough, but then you go to Seattle and play Green Bay in weeks 16 and 17. And obviously the Seattle defense isn't bad. The Green Bay defense isn't bad either. But it's Justin Jefferson. And I do expect both the Seattle game and the Green Bay game to be high-scoring games, right? You do have the Vikings in a situation now where they're not running away with the division, right? The Packers are good. If the Vikings trip at any point, you've got the Lions right there and you've got the Packers right there. So it's not like you can go out and... Justin Jefferson is going to have to be at the top of his game for the rest of the season because he is crucial to the Vikings and their success, and it is crucial that they get, if they can, a bye in the playoffs. Because right now, I think they're in position to get a bye right now if the season were in today. But that can change really quickly. Their playoff picture can change really quickly at this point. Again, you have 3 playoff caliber teams in that division, and then the Bears, who have been playing better recently, who they almost beat the Vikings. So I think Justin Jefferson is going to have to be better. I do think he's viable in leagues where you have casual players. If you can't get him, it's a bummer, but I would at least try in every single league to get Justin Jefferson and see what you can do there. So
you know what's really interesting about JJ and his recent skid?
What?
There's a direct correlation between his production and Hawkinson's production. Look at them. They literally flip. Hawk's first game back, 5 points. JJ that week, 21 points. Then Hawk has a 15-point game to JJ's 9, 14-point game for JJ week 11 to Hawk's 3, and then 18 for Hawk and 4.
And this, I think this also I think that's also a result of just the competition they're playing. When Justin Jefferson is shut down, Darnold is going to go to Hawk and he's going to go to Addison. You've seen Addison have some big games too. So I think it's more the fact that since they cannot get Justin Jefferson the ball right now, which they need
Addison has all of a sudden become a factor, which he never was before, and now defenses have to respect Addison as well as Hawk, which is just probably going to reopen up.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I think it's on KOC to get JJ the ball. I do. I think they need to do a better job of it. I think they need to be more intentional about it. I felt like I was seeing them do that early in the season. Whereas recently, like, sure, he's been covered well, but like, I don't feel like there's been a concerted effort to get the ball in this guy's hands. And I think I think that's kind of bad. So, with JJ, again, if you can buy him.
They have been winning.
Yeah, they have been winning, so you can't argue with winning. That is the one thing you have to consider. So if you can buy JJ, go do it.
There's plenty of risk in that situation where I think that people would actually be willing to sell him. I really do think so. I think there's people that are freaking out.
I mean, if they think like you, then they would. So
my season died with Puka missing the first 6 games of the year. Mike Evans is going to be our next guy here. And you can laugh all you want.
You're hot and bothered right now.
Yeah,
dude.
I am hot and bothered.
Just keep going.
My team was going to be just as bad.
You're all red.
Mike Evans is the next guy here because you always call shot. you always throw shot. You never let me bite back.
Oh man.
Mike Evans is our next guy here, and I've already said that 3 times. And he's scored 11 points. I do get flustered because, gosh dang it.
That's the goal. I won.
You did win, and I let you win.
Just keep going.
Gosh,
Everybody's laughing at you right now.
12 points for Mike Evans, his first game back against the Giants when Bucky dropped 27. Rashad White had another 12. Baker had a really good game. Sterling Shepard, I think, had 7 other targets in that game. We expected Mike Evans to start a little slow his first week back against the Giants, and he was honestly better than what I thought his floor could have been. 12 points. This guy has Carolina coming up next, Vegas after that, the Chargers, which is tougher. Then he has Dallas and Carolina to finish up the postseason. This is a dream last third of the season lineup for Mike Evans. I don't know what better situation you could ask for Mike Evans. And we've had Mike Evans as a bye in previous videos, I think before their bye week, which was in week 11. We're going to reinforce this because you see this happen all the time. The ranking of a player goes up and up and up the closer they get to coming back healthy. Then they come back healthy and they play, and they don't do what you expected them to. Case in point, Nico Collins last week. Yep. And what do? You can get him at a slight discount. It's maybe not going to be at a crazy discount, but you can get Mike Evans at a discount right now because he only had a 12-point game, because Bucky Irving looks like he's really, really good, because Rashad White keeps getting touchdowns in the red zone, because other guys in the offense are getting targets, because they've been playing the last few weeks. We knew that Mike Evans was going to ease into his role again. He's still, off of 6 targets and 5 receptions, had 60 yards, 70 yards. He's going to be totally fine. We're not worried about that whatsoever. We're actually encouraged about the usage and opportunity he got in a game where they didn't even need to use him, but they did anyways. They won that game 30-7. 30-7. Next week they got Carolina. That's going to apparently be a tougher matchup since Carolina looks like a okay team.
They're giving people trouble.
They're giving people trouble. They gave the Chiefs trouble. And I think they're going to need Mike Evans to make some plays and be the Mike Evans that he was before the hamstring injury. So expect him to be more and more productive every single week from here on out. This is just, you cannot overlook the schedule that he has rest of the season. He, I think for me, is ranked wide receiver 13 or 14. I think rest of the season he's flirting with low end wide receiver 1 numbers, in my opinion.
Next guy we're gonna have on this list is Romo Dink. And Romo's a guy early in the season where hey, you probably want to sell Rome. He's not really doing much. He's kind of the third option there, and the offense isn't super good. And you've got Shane Waldron in there. And so what happened? What happened? Because he's had 2 games now with 10 targets. What happened? When was Shane Waldron fired again? Was it 2 games ago or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an immediate difference between.
Oh, well, not only Odunze. Look at DJ Moore. DJ Moore, we told you to buy all season. He never panned out, so we're finally okay, well, shut up about DJ Moore. And in the past couple weeks, he's had 40 points total, so he's averaging 20 points a game in the last 2 weeks since Shane Waldron has left. You want to keep going? Let's go to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, since Shane Waldron has left, he had 8 points and then 23 points. So he's averaging 15 points a game since Shane Waldron left.
And the target's going way up, too.
Way up. He had 15 targets in his last game. So it's a team that, is throwing the ball more without Shane Waldron there, which is good for owners of these 3 wide receivers, bad for owners of DeAndre Swift, who only saw, 8 points in his last game. With Romo Dink in particular, also you have, him getting better as a rookie. You see that chemistry developing between him and Caleb Williams. That alone is enough of a reason for me to say, okay, Rome might be somebody I can flex during the playoffs. Now, I do think that you should be careful not to overpay for Romo Dink because there is, a lot of competition. DJ Moore, from a target standpoint, didn't out-target him, but Keenan Allen did in the last game. However, in any given game, DJ Moore could out-target him, and DJ Moore, obviously, as you saw against Minnesota, can outproduce him from a fantasy perspective even when he doesn't out-target him. And so I do think you have to be a little bit careful Also, the fact that he's a rookie a lot of times leads people to overpay for Romo Dink or overpay for rookies in general. And I do believe in Rome. He's the wide receiver 52 on the season right now, but if I had to guess in the last, 5 weeks of the season, I think he's probably going to be a wide receiver 4 at worst. And that projects a lot better than what he has been this season so far. It's wide receiver, obviously, wide receiver 36 through 48. So I think, I'm willing to go send some trade packages for Romo Dink, but I want them to be lower in value. I don't want to give up a ton. And so I'm going to look here at the rest of season rankings and where Romo Dink is falling in terms of like value adjacent players. And I'm looking around him. Obviously, you have guys like Jerry Jeudy, Chris Olave, Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, Kareem Hunt, Keenan Allen, Dalton Kincaid. I honestly would send any of these guys. So he's ranked at 97 in the Flock expert consensus rankings. I would send any of these guys for Romo Dink right now. So take a look at the expert consensus rankings over on Flock. It's free. You can create an account using code DOMAIN. It's going to get you 30% off everything, but you can see the rankings for free, the expert consensus rankings for free. Go look at the guys around him. I would send almost every single one of them for Romo Dink right now. I think he's a good buy rest of the season. I think that offense is also one that, they're kind of, their season is essentially, what's their record now?
Chicago?
Are they 4-?
I think they're 5-6.
So, they're not, it's a stacked division. They're not technically out of it. They're 4-7. Okay. So obviously tough division, but looking at the rest of their schedule, I do expect them to be competitive, and I expect some of these games to be shootouts, right? Against the Lions, against the 49ers. 49ers haven't been that great again, and then against the Vikings again. I think all of these games are games where you could see these receivers have high upside, and Romo Dink is no exception. So.
Yeah, next guy that we're going to have here is going to be more expensive. You're not going to get as much of a discount for Kamara, but when I'm looking at the expert rankings here, I'm looking at Kamara, and he's just kind of by default slipped down to running back 9 because Saquon looks amazing. Devon Achane is now back with Tua back. Bijan has been great. CMC, you kind of just have to have top 5 to 6 because he's CMC, but honestly, that's kind of debatable. Derrick Henry is like a top 2 running back on the year. Joe Mixon has gone nuts. Now he's not. Jahmyr Gibbs has gone nuts. But honestly, I would rather have Alvin Kamara, who is the currently RB3 on the season, even with the bye that just happened in week 12. And he's been really, really consistent. That receiving usage is wide receiver level. He's getting more targets than most productive wide receivers are. Since week 4, he's had 9, 8, 8, 7, 11, 9, and 6, and 4 targets. That is elite level receiving usage. He has 73 targets on the year. This is a wide receiver playing running back. A wide receiver playing running back. He gets so many dump offs from the quarterbacks playing there because Derek Carr is the most mid of all mid. And he's still getting, even with that receiving usage, 29, 17, and 16 carries the last 3 weeks. The dude dropped 27, 15, and 12 points in weeks 9 through 11 without scoring a single touchdown. Do you know the last time that he scored a touchdown?
Yesterday.
He's RB3 on the season. The last time he scored a touchdown was week 6.
Holy smokes. That's what receiving upside does for you.
That is what receiving upside does for you.
Man.
Again,
that's good. When
you don't see the touchdowns come for a while, chances are they're probably gonna find their way back into his to his box score. That's generally just the way that touchdowns work for guys of Alvin Kamara's caliber. And he has, again, when you're looking at the expert rankings here, I would rather have Alvin Kamara over Kyron Williams, same tier. I'd rather have Alvin Kamara over Breece Hall. He's more consistent. I'd rather have Alvin Kamara over Joe Mixon, who's at RB6 right now. And Joe Mixon has been really, really good this year. I would rather have Alvin Kamara. That can be debatable. You can trash me for that, whatever. With Kamara, look at his schedule. He's got the Rams, the Giants, Washington, Green Bay, and Vegas and Tampa.
It's very true. And Joe Mixon has a tougher playoff schedule.
He does. So keep that in mind with Kamara. If you can make a swap happen with any of those running backs that I talked about, generally not a huge fan of 1-for-1s. I would take the shot on the 1-for-1 deal, and I would just go bet fully on Alvin Kamara because this is what he does. He's been doing it for years, and he gets older with age, apparently.
Yeah, older with age, huh?
Better with age,
yeah.
Apparently,
yeah. Older with age. Wow.
That was really good. That was a really good way to end the segment, and I just
you're good. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Better with age.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
These couldn't have said it older yourself.
You're right. Nice. These two guys are getting older with age as well. It's Rashad White and Bucky Irving as our next buys on this list, and I'm going to convince you to buy them in 43 seconds. Ready? Go. In week 13, they play Carolina. Okay. In week 14, they play the Raiders. Okay. In week 15, they play the Chargers. Okay, that one's kind of tough. Yeah. Okay, so you got a tough matchup in there. Okay. In week 16, they play Dallas. Oh. Okay. In week 17, they play Carolina again. Oh. Okay. And then week 18, they play the Saints.
Which doesn't matter because no one's playing a championship.
And nobody's playing, but still, every single one of those matchups outside of the Chargers is like, I'm licking my chops for that one, right? These running backs are going to score a lot of points, and they've been both producing. Rashad White hasn't been he's been in double figures since week 5. And then Bucky,
serious?
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
And then Bucky Irving has been, he's had every game but one in double figures since week 5.
Yeah.
And Bucky Irving had 27.
So they're both producing at the same time.
So what it means is even though they are technically capping each other's ceiling, they're both fantasy productive, and they both have maybe the best playoff schedule or rest of season schedule, maybe the best rest of season schedule of any running back group in the league.
Yeah, if I were a guessing man, I would say that Bucky's price is probably a little bit higher than Rashad's because I think the secret's kind of out on him after that 27-point game. I hope that you can get him at a discount. That would be awesome if someone is worried about Rashad White. That's why we have both of them on there, though. If you can get Rashad White cheaper, go get him. If you can get Bucky for maybe like the slightest possible premium, then you can go for it too.
So you're telling me you're not a guessing man? You never guess?
No, I said if I were a guessing man.
Yeah.
That's where I would assume that Bucky Irving's price is going to be a little
So you're
bit
not
higher.
a guessing man?
I am a guessing man.
But you just said if I were a guessing man. That doesn't make any sense. If you're a guessing man, then you are a guessing man. You should say, I'm a guessing man and I'm going to guess. You said, I'm not a guessing man.
I mean, I'm a guessing man, and I'm also guessing that I'm going to crush you in a lot of leagues this year and next year, and the Flock League too.
Okay. All right, you're up next.
Jerry Jeudy is going to be our last guy here. He's been, dude, I'm so out of it. And so are you.
I'm not out of it. What are you talking about? I'm sick and I'm out here dogging on you.
Yep. Baltimore, week 8, 8 targets. Week 9, the Chargers, 11 targets. New Orleans in week 11, 11 targets. Pittsburgh in the snow, 6 targets. This guy has been the most, and this is a fact, the most consistent wide receiver for the Browns over the last month. Tillman has had the highest ceiling. Tillman has looked really, really good. Rest of the season, I still think that we have Tillman ranked over Jerry Jeudy, both of us.
We do.
So we admit what Tillman's upside is. Tillman is banged up. Jeudy has had over 12 points for 4 straight weeks, and he has gotten the most consistent volume from Jameis Winston. I think this is something to monitor because not only is the consistency there, but the yardage and the opportunity and the non-touchdown production is there. Yes, his 126-point game came with a touchdown, but the other games when he didn't have a touchdown, 12, 14, and 14 points. He's kind of starting to have a nice little floor there that you can comfortably flex every single week. He's got tougher matchups, and that's why this is going to be the last buy in our video, is he's got Denver next week. He's got Pittsburgh. He's got Kansas City. He's got Cincinnati, which is friendly, and Miami, which is not so friendly in week 17. One of the tougher schedules that you're going to see for wide receivers. But again, you cannot deny the volume and the fact that he just dropped 14 points against Pittsburgh with 6 targets and 85 yards in the snow. This was not a game for wide receivers to produce, and he did it. So he's starting to cast aside all doubt and just produce regardless. So something to monitor. If you can get him kind of as a throw-in or an addition if you're looking for a little depth or a flex spot because of more bye weeks coming in week 14, I would go ahead and see if you can't capitalize because he's starting to show that he can do this consistently regardless of situation.
Yeah, so there you go. It's a sad ending to what was one of our favorite videos of the year, the buys video. That was a good video.
Rip.
Yeah, rip.
Just like I'm going to end you.
I'm going to report you to the FBI for threatening me. I'm really not scared of Nathan, if you can't tell.
I'm like the most scariest person.
Yeah,
of all
not
time,
intimidating.
So
Like I'm at like 50% right now with my cold, and I probably
I'm really bad at trash talking.
So they picked up on that.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have rest of season rankings and weekly rankings for you this week as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for those. As you know, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. We'll see you later.